Hi everybody, this is Zephyr and we are back to PHP and MySQL tutorials. This is tutorial number 5. I promised in the previous tutorial that I'm gonna show you how to create a form. I understand that most of you know how to create a form using maybe JavaScript or Bootstrap or whatever framework you are using out there. So I'm just going to use a basic form, or it will have a basic design as well. So before we do that, let us create a file which is an index.php file, because this will be like our home file, because when you are creating a website, the server looks for the index page inside your project. So if it doesn't find any index.html or index.php file, then it's gonna show you the folder, not the home file, which is index.php. So for you to understand on that, let us remove this. So we are now going inside the tutorial folder. So if I hit enter, this is what it's gonna show, index of tutorial. It's showing the files which are inside there. Why? Because we are missing one file. We don't have an index.php. So for us to create that file, as you can see, I can refresh here. It will still remain on this page. So let me create an index file. So I'll save this one, index.php. So once I've done that, if I refresh here, boom, it has taken now that index file as our main file, or our welcome file. So let me write something here. I am the index file, or you can say I am the home page, or whatever you want to write. So you can see I am the index file, or you can say I am the home page, or I am your home page, something like that. So if I save here, I am your home page. So what it means that the index file is the one which is loaded at the first place when you are opening your project. So now that you have understood that you don't use like custom files to load your project, you only need an index.html or index.php file, so that the server can recognize your project. So now that our project is recognizable, the db.php is just going to be there as our connection file. So we are going to grab this one and use it in all of our PHP files which we are going to be creating later on. So this one, let me create an HTML file inside this. So once I've done that, remember we are talking about citizen database. So let me write it, citizen database. So this is our citizen database file, and then localhost/tutorial will be replaced by that word I've just written now. So citizen database, because this is the title of our project. So inside here, for those who haven't watched my HTML files, please do that, because I was doing some Bootstrap in there. So we are going also to use Bootstrap here, whether Bootstrap 5, Bootstrap 4, but I only use Bootstrap 4 and Bootstrap 5. So our tutorials will dwell much more on Bootstrap 4, because of the I have a lot of things that I okay, it's no problem, we can use Bootstrap 5, but for me I will use Bootstrap 4 because there are some pre-designed admin dashboards which we are going to use in the future. So you have to be familiar with Bootstrap 4, and then you can also be familiar with Bootstrap 5. But if you are familiar with Bootstrap 4, then all the other bootstraps which are going to be coming, the versions which are going to be coming later on, they are going to follow the same pattern. So if you are familiar with Bootstrap 3, then you don't have to worry about Bootstrap 4, Bootstrap 5. But it's good for you to learn the new technologies. So let me add a heading. So city information, and then we can add a horizontal row so that we separate this heading and the form. So if I refresh here, city information, and then the form is gonna come down there. So let's create a form like that. So now that we have created a form, so a form has got a method where you want to send data. You use a method. You can either use get or you can use post. So in this tutorial, we are going to use method post. So we are posting the information inside this form to the server so that it gets installed inside our city table. Now after that, let us create now inputs. So inputs are like some sort of text views, or I can say some sort of boxes whereby you are going to be writing in your information. So if I say input, and then an input has got a type, so this type is text, and then the name of our input, make sure that input has got a name, because without a name the PHP code is no longer going to recognize it, because without that name then the input is useless when you're using it with PHP. So let's put a name as a city name, right? And then we can put a placeholder. A placeholder is like some sort of hint. So we say write or put, or we can say okay, yes, write your city name here. So let's see what's gonna happen. If I do this, then you see this is what has happened. Write your city name here. So this is our input. But we can add a label here. This label is also good because it shows us the actual thing. Okay, city name. Can do something like that. So when I refresh here, you see we have got city name. So it's better that way than the way it was. Now let me just copy this, because we have got 4 or 5, no 4. Remember, the ID is auto incremented, so we no longer have to create it here because it's useless to create it. Once you create the information, automatically we have got created 2 cities. Automatically the other city which we are going to create, it will have the ID 3. So we don't need to be putting the ID as well here. So we just only put 4. So 2 and 4. So city name, and then we've got city population, right? And then we've got city code. And then we've got city postal code. City postal code, and here city code. So the city PC, then here city code, and here city population pop. So that is enough. So we can say write your city population here, and then your city code here, and then your city postal code here. Now if I can refresh this, I'm going to have this. So we have city, city name, city population, and city code, and then city postal code. Now it's not looking good, so what do we do? I will create BR. So BR is like we are breaking this part, and then I copy it, and then I also paste it here. Okay, and then here as well. So if I refresh here, this is what I'm going to have, but now it's not looking nice. And let's put double BRs, double. Okay, so let's refresh it. Okay, here as well. So this is just basic design, but once we have started using Bootstrap, it's where we are going to have a little bit better UI than this one. This one is ugly, and it's not good. So let me just remove the placeholders because they are no longer important for now. Okay, now here we go. So city name, city population, city code, and city postal code. Now one thing is remaining. What is it? It's a button which is going to be used to send this information to the database, which is going to submit this information. So remember the BR here, and then the button. So button, or sometimes you can use the same input, and then type can be button, and then name should be submit. Okay, type submit, and name should be post city, and then value should be submit, right? And let's see, there we go. So we have that type of a button. So if we do this, nothing will happen because we haven't added here information. And yeah, so if I do submit, nothing will happen. So let us add some sort of we can put autofocus here, and then we can also add required. So these things are much more important. If I refresh here, autofocus, it means it's going to be blinking on the first input. So if I do submit, it's going to show us a message. Please fill out this field. This is much more important because you don't want your users to send blank information to the server. So it has to have that type of warning. It needs to show. We are going to also do this using JavaScript as we go along, so that it shows the information here. Once you are submitting, it has to show information. Please fill, or this required, something like that. But for now, let's use it the way it is.
Now we have created our form. In the next tutorial, we are going to show you how we can now send this data to the database. So see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.